Hey guys, tonight we begin something most people are never taught. We're going to pull back the curtain and show you the 13 invisible systems that quietly run the lives of winners. And I mean real winners, not the loudest in the room, not the flashiest, not even the most talented. I'm talking about those rare individuals who move through life with clarity, calm, and a kind of unshakable rhythm. Most of them won't brag about it. They won't post about it. But behind closed doors, they live by design, not default. And they use systems that multiply time, sharpen clarity, protect energy, deepen relationships, and move them inch by inch closer to a life they've chosen rather than one they stumbled into. So, picture this. It's 5 a.m. and the city's still sleeping. The coffee's hot, the light's soft. The world feels quiet for the first time in days. And you're not reaching for your phone. You're reaching for your life plan, your journal, the map you've drawn. Because now, you are the strategist, not the reactor, not the overthinker, not the burnout version of yourself trying to catch up. Now, before we dive in, one quick reality check. If you're just looking for tips and tricks, this won't save you. Because systems aren't about hacks, they're about transformation. And transformation starts when you stop pretending tomorrow will somehow be better on its own. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And drop a comment. Tell me your city and what time you're watching this. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Part 1. Let's start with the first system 1. The inner audit system. Clarity before action. Marcus Aurelius once asked himself each morning, "What is in my control?" That's the birthplace of all strategy. The battlefield isn't out there, it starts in your own mind. Winners don't begin with hustle. They begin with truth. A brutal, honest audit of self. And most people skip this part because it's uncomfortable. But discomfort is the gateway to clarity. Epictetus said, "This is the essence of philosophy, to live so that your happiness depends as little as possible on outside things. Before setting goals, before chasing dreams, winners pause and analyze. Where am I strong? Where do I repeatedly fall short? What stories am I telling myself that keep me stuck?" They don't judge, they observe. Just like a general before a war studies terrain, allies, and weather, so too must you study yourself. Here's a simple exercise. Take 30 minutes this week. Create 3 columns: wins, losses, lessons. Then look for patterns. Are your wins linked to solitude? Do your losses show up after impulsive decisions? What do your lessons say about how you process discomfort? This is your personal terrain map, and you can't strategize if you're blind to where you're standing. The Stoics were obsessed with self-reflection because they knew one truth: we don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. And if we want to change the world we live in, our career, our relationships, our health, we need to first change the lens we're using. Winners begin with awareness, not action, not hustle, not noise. So let me ask you, what blind spot are you still pretending doesn't exist? 2. The vision anchoring system design. Don't drift. Seneca once wrote, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Most people drift through life chasing dopamine, reacting to problems, seeking comfort over clarity. But winners, they anchor their actions to vision. They design their path backward from the destination. Amazon built Prime by starting with a fictional press release 2-day delivery. Nationwide. No systems, no logistics. But the vision was so vivid. Every decision either served it or got scrapped. That's backcasting. It's not about predicting the future. It's about deciding on one and reverse engineering your life to fit it. Do this tonight. Write an email to your future self dated 5 years from now. Describe 3 specific outcomes that have come true. You're debt-free. You've written a book. You meditate daily and sleep deeply. Then ask, what habits must exist in 3 months? What structures must shift in 30 days? What decision must I make today? If you can't see the destination, your brain will default to convenience. But when vision becomes vivid, willpower becomes unnecessary. And let's be honest, how many of your bad habits are really just symptoms of not having a clear North Star? Remember, no wind favors a ship without a direction. 3. The environmental design system build triggers, not traps. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But freedom isn't about resisting temptation. It's about removing it. James Clear didn't force himself to read more. He just put the book on his pillow and hid the TV remote. And guess what? He started reading every night. Not because he was stronger, but because the path of least resistance had changed. That's the magic of strategic environment design. Winners don't battle willpower every day. They don't try harder. They design their space to make success inevitable. Here's how you start. Want to work out? Leave your shoes by the door. Want to write more? Keep your journal open on your desk. Want to stop doom scrolling? Move the app off your home screen. Every small friction against bad behavior is a little freedom you gain. Every small cue toward good behavior is a little system you've installed. Most people blame their laziness, but it's not laziness, it's design. Ask yourself, what's one behavior you want to stop? What's one behavior you want to start? Now build a cue and remove a trigger tonight, because winners don't wait for motivation. They remove resistance. 4. The resource multiplication system seeds, not coins. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most people look at their bank account or time and say, "I don't have enough." But winners, they see resources differently. They see every resource as a seed, not a coin. It's not about spending time. It's about planting it. It's not about using skills. It's about compounding them. Take Airbnb. In 2008, they were broke, out of money. So they created cereal boxes Obama O's and Captain McCain's and sold them to keep the company alive. That scrappy move earned $30,000 and caught Y Combinator's attention. That moment wasn't luck. It was resource optimization. Here's the question you must ask yourself today. What do I have in my hand that I've been undervaluing? An old laptop, some copywriting skills, free evenings after work. These are seeds. Plant them wisely, and you'll grow leverage. Because winners don't complain about lack. They convert scraps into strategy. That's the first 4 of 13. And now, before we move into part 2, pause. Breathe. Because you've already done what most people avoid. You've slowed down long enough to examine the architecture of a winning life. In the next part, we'll walk through how winners manage risk without fear, and how they build bulletproof systems to learn, grow, and never fall behind again. Part 2. Welcome back. You've already unlocked the first layer of systems every winner relies on. And I'll say it again, this isn't about information. It's about transformation, because most people consume content like they consume snacks mindlessly. But you're building a foundation, slowly, deliberately, layer by layer. Let's keep going. 5. The risk calibration system controlled chaos. In a chaotic world, the question is never, how do I avoid risk? The real question is, how do I choose which risks are worth taking? The Stoics knew that life is never stable. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strategic thinkers operate with what's called asymmetric risk thinking. That means low downside, massive upside. Netflix lived this. In 2007, they could have kept milking DVD rentals, safe money, but instead, they disrupted themselves and invested in streaming. They risked losing a little short-term profit for the chance at digital dominance. And now they control a global empire. That's not bravery, that's strategy. Here's how to build your personal version. Draw a simple matrix. X-axis, worst-case loss. Y-axis, best-case gain. Now list 3 choices you've been sitting on. Launch a business, learn a high-leverage skill, switch industries, plot each one. Which one has minimal risk, but game-changing upside? That's your move. Stoic preparation isn't about pessimism, it's about clarity. Epictetus called it premeditatio malorum, visualizing the worst so you're never caught off guard. Winners don't fear chaos, they calculate within it. 6. The learning engine system, meta-learning, not just memorization. In a world addicted to speed, winners play a different game. They don't try to learn everything. They learn what compounds. Seneca said, "We should not accumulate things indiscriminately. It is better to understand a few things deeply than to learn many things superficially." This is where meta-learning comes in. C. Most people cram knowledge. Winners, on the other hand, build frameworks. They don't just ask, "What did I learn?" They ask, "How does this connect to what I already know? How can I apply this across different fields?" That's why skills like mental modeling, first principles thinking, and causal reasoning are so powerful. Learn one, and it becomes a tool for everything. Take music. Practicing an instrument improves memory, focus, and emotion regulation. It's not just about playing songs, it's brain training. Same with chess. It teaches pattern recognition, probabilistic thinking, and long-term planning. Pick one meta skill. Practice 30 minutes a day for 90 days. Not to pass a test, to build mental agility. Because here's the truth. The faster the world changes, the more valuable learning how to learn becomes. Winners don't keep up. They leap ahead because they've trained for it. 7. The relationship ecosystem system. Value first networking, Epictetus said. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Let me be blunt. Most people treat relationships like a contact list. Winners treat them like a garden. They don't collect people. They cultivate them. Take Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn. He called himself a super connector, not because he knew everyone, but because he created value inside his network by connecting others thoughtfully, strategically. Every week, He asked, who in my network can help whom? Where can I spark synergy? That's how networks thrive, not by asking, by giving. Here's your relationship system starter pack. Once a week, reach out to one person. No ask, just check in. Once a month, make one warm introduction between two people who could help each other. Once a quarter, review your inner circle. Who energizes you, who drains you? Adjust accordingly. Because your network isn't just who you know, it's who you nurture. Winners don't hunt for high-value people. They grow them. 8. The work and career moat system rare skills. Deep autonomy. Cal Newport said, don't follow your passion. Become so good they can't ignore you. And it's true. Passion is often the result of mastery, not the cause. Most people wander through jobs, hoping one of them will magically feel right. But winners, they build their careers like fortresses. They develop what Newport calls a career moat. That means rare, valuable skills, a reputation for excellence, a network of trust, and control over time and direction. It's not about chasing titles, it's about stacking leverage. Ask yourself, what is the most valuable skill in my niche? What would make me irreplaceable in the next 12 months? What does the top 1% do differently in my field? Now commit, not forever, just for 1 quarter. Log your reps. Track your progress. Improve one variable each week. This is the slow game, but it's the only game that compounds into freedom. The Stoics never feared success. They feared losing themselves in it. So ask yourself, what are you building? And is it truly yours? 9. The financial autonomy system energy, not ego, Seneca said. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Money is not a scoreboard, it's an engine. And most people don't know how to build one. They earn, they spend, they repeat. But winners, they design a system, income streams that scale, investments that grow quietly, budgets that are based on purpose, not guilt. Think of Warren Buffett. He doesn't chase wealth. He builds engines that compound it. He doesn't splurge. He allocates. Here's your financial clarity blueprint. Map your cash flow, every dollar in, every dollar out. 2. Identify which flows are dead money, unused subscriptions, idle savings, mindless spending. 3. Redirect just 20% of that into value creation courses, tools, long-term investments, creative assets. Money isn't evil, but unconscious spending is. The Stoics taught us not to reject wealth, but to reframe it. Not as a god to worship, but as a tool to wield. So ask yourself, is your money serving you, or are you serving it? Pause here. You've just uncovered 4 more systems that most people never consciously build. Let that sink in. You now know how winners learn faster, risk smarter, build deeper relationships, design their careers, and create financial engines that buy back their time. In Part 3, we'll dive into the final pillars: health, time, creativity, and decisions. This is where strategy gets personal, where discipline turns into power. Part 3. Welcome back. You're still here. That means something. In a world addicted to shortcuts and dopamine, you're sitting with long-form strategy, with reflection, with systems. You're not just chasing motivation anymore. You're rewiring the foundation. So, let's keep building. Because these next systems, they're the lifeblood of the machine. The ones that winners guard like sacred flame. They protect the engine of performance, your time, your energy, your decisions. Let's dive into System 10. 10. The health and energy system guard the flame. If your body crashes, everything crashes: plans, dreams, habits, clarity. It all becomes background noise when fatigue walks in. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But self-mastery isn't just about stoic endurance or emotional restraint. It's about knowing when to pause. Arianna Huffington once collapsed in her office from exhaustion. That moment birthed Thrive Global and a redefinition of success not built on burnout, but on sustainability. Let me be blunt. You can't strategize if your brain is fogged from poor sleep. You can't build empires if your gut is inflamed. You can't lead others if your nervous system is fried. Your energy isn't just your fuel, it's your filter. Low energy means low discernment, and without discernment, all systems fail. Here's your baseline: minimum 7 hours of sleep, no screens 60 minutes before bed, 3 mini recovery rituals per day: a walk, a deep breath, a full digital break. Hydrate and move before you caffeinate. Don't treat your body like a rental. Treat it like your operating system. Every winner you admire, they may seem superhuman, but under the surface, they've simply learned to protect their flame. So here's a simple question. Are you making decisions with a fully charged battery or a blinking red 111? The time and focus system: deep work, not busy work. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that power shows up most in what you choose to focus on. We live in an era of fractured attention. Everyone's busy. Few are effective. Winners don't just manage their calendars. They protect their focus like a monk guards his silence. Take Bill Gates. Every year, he takes Think Week a week in the woods, alone, with a stack of books and papers, no meetings, no email, just depth. And it's during those weeks that major ideas were born, like Internet Explorer and Microsoft's early cloud strategy. If you want to play chess in a world of checkers, you need to reclaim your mind. Here's how to build your time-focused system. Block 2 to 3 hours each morning as deep time: no meetings, no social, no interruptions. Turn your phone to grayscale. Create a shutdown ritual at night. Review 3 wins. List 3 priorities for tomorrow, then detach. The goal is not to squeeze more tasks into your day. It's to expand clarity. Busyness is a trap. Depth is a weapon. Chris Bailey, author of The Productivity Project, discovered that focused, not time, is the most limited resource and the most valuable. So ask yourself right now, if someone audited your week, would they see strategy or reaction? 12. The creativity and innovation system loops, not lightning bolts. Creativity isn't magic. It's not a gift from the gods. It's not waiting for inspiration while staring out a window. It's structure. It's systems. It's deliberate loops. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." And that's more than a Stoic mantra. It's a creative framework. Winners don't fear blocks. They build from them. Take James Dyson. 126 failed prototypes before he created the first bagless vacuum. That's not stubbornness. That's systematic iteration. Creativity is about connecting unlikely dots. And you can't do that if you're not feeding the system. So here's how to build your creative system. Dedicate 30 minutes a day to cross-pollination. Consume something outside your field: art, philosophy, architecture, jazz. Build a failure journal, a place where you document experiments. What didn't work and what patterns emerged. Create prototype rules. No more than 10 days per idea. Ship fast. Reflect faster. Most people wait for brilliance. Winners build loops that produce it. If your ideas feel stale, it's not because you're not creative. It's because your system isn't cross-connected. Want to create more? Start feeding your system like an artist and testing like an engineer. 13. The decision optimization system. Reduce noise. Increase clarity. Life is a game of decisions, but most people treat decisions like dice rolls, random, stressful, emotional. Winners. They systematize decision-making. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater, built algorithms to mimic his own thinking. Not to replace him, but to protect him from himself. He used data. He used principles. He made the system smarter than his emotions, and that's the final piece. A decision system that filters every choice through clarity, not chaos. Create a 5-question checklist. 1. What's the worst-case scenario? 2. What's the upside potential? Does this align with my 5-year vision? 4. What does the data say, not just my feelings? 5. What is my deeper intuition quietly whispering beneath the noise? And apply this rule. If a decision costs you more than 1 hour or more than $100, use the system. No more gut-only gambles, no more reactivity, because decisions stack, and stacked decisions become your life trajectory. Marcus Aurelius said, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought." So, let me ask you this. Are you building your future by design or default? Pause. Let this land. You now hold all 13 systems. They're not hacks. They're ecosystems. They compound. They reinforce. They protect and amplify each other. And here's the Stoic truth that ties it all together. You don't control outcomes, but you can control systems. And if you master your systems, the outcomes begin to shift slowly, quietly, consistently. Now the real work begins. In Part 4, I'll take you through how to apply these 13 systems into a practical rhythm daily, weekly, monthly, so they don't become another forgotten insight, but a living, operating system. Part 4. You made it. 13 systems, fully revealed. And now you're probably thinking, how do I use all of this without getting overwhelmed? Here's where most people crash and burn. They consume. They nod. They highlight quotes, but they don't implement. And the Stoics were very clear on this. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." So now, it's time to make this real. This part is where we turn systems into rhythm, insight into traction. Because winners don't just have systems, they have rituals to keep them alive. Let's start with the daily operating rhythm. The daily system. The 3x3 method. You don't need to wake up at 4:30 a.m., journal for an hour, work out like an Olympian, and then meditate under a freezing waterfall. That's not strategy. That's cosplay. What you need is consistency, repeatability, alignment. Use this simple daily structure: 3 buckets, 3 questions each. 1. Awareness morning check-in. What does my energy feel like today? What's one emotion I'm carrying that could distort my judgment? What is my intention for today's actions? 2. Focus work and direction. What is the single highest leverage task today? What distractions need to be neutralized before noon? What would make today feel successful by tonight? 3. Recovery evening. Reset. What did I learn today that I didn't know this morning? Where did I act out of reaction instead of strategy? How will I reset my mind and body before sleep? That's it. 9 questions. 15 minutes total. Do this for 30 days and watch what happens. Not because of intensity, but because of intentionality. The Stoics weren't fast. They were precise. And that's what this rhythm gives you, a daily system to stay steady, no matter how noisy the world gets. The Weekly Strategy Pulse. The Sunday System. Every Sunday evening, high-level performers do something 95% of people avoid. They review the game. This is your strategic pulse check, just 20-30 minutes to recalibrate. Here's what it looks like. 1. Review the past week. What system served me best? Where did I drift? What triggered reactivity instead of reflection? Reaffirm the 13 systems. Ask yourself, which system am I underutilizing right now? Which one feels the strongest? What's one small upgrade I can make to the weakest link? 3. Reconnect to vision. Does my calendar reflect my values? Do my decisions reflect my long-term self? What do I need to say no to this week, even if it's uncomfortable? Winners don't wait until life breaks to course correct. They make tiny calibrations every 7 days. And if you think that sounds too rigid, remember, structure doesn't restrict freedom. It protects it. Marcus Aurelius journaled constantly to sharpen his thinking and strip away illusions. Your weekly rhythm does the same thing. It clears the fog. It recenters the compass. Monthly reflection. Strategic reset. Once a month on the first Sunday, go deep. Shut the world off. Journal by hand. Turn everything into slow motion. This is where the real upgrades happen. Use the following template. 1. Personal system scorecard. Rate each of the 13 systems from 1 to 10. Don't overthink it. Go with your gut. Then ask, which system has improved the most this month? Which system is showing signs of erosion? What was the root cause of that shift? 2. Identity check-in. Who am I becoming through these systems? What story am I telling myself right now that is outdated? What belief needs to be retired before next month begins? 3. 90-day preview. Zoom out. Look at your life not as a to-do list, but as a story arc. Ask, what trajectory am I currently on? If I change nothing, where will I land in 90 days? What pivot would radically change that trajectory? The goal isn't perfection, it's pattern recognition. Winners don't need to know everything about the future. They just need to catch themselves 10% sooner than the crowd. That's what this monthly check-in gives you: insight, ownership, a path forward. How to avoid overwhelm. The system. Cascade principle. Here's what most people misunderstand. They think they need to optimize everything at once. No, you only need to strengthen the right keystone system. What's a keystone system? It's the one that, when improved, elevates the rest without direct effort. Example: if your energy system is weak, everything else feels harder. Fix that first. If your time system is leaky, all your habits die in the chaos. Reinforce that next. If your vision system is blurry, all decisions become guesswork. Re-anchor. Ask yourself, which system, if I doubled its strength, would positively affect the next 3? That's your first move. You don't need 13 transformations. You need one leveraged upgrade. The rest, they cascade. The role of journaling. Your Stoic dashboard. The Stoics journaled not to document life, but to design it, to wrestle with thought, to filter truth from emotion, to make the invisible visible. So here's a challenge: pick one prompt each day from this video and journal on it. Seriously, one line is enough. If you reflect daily, and pulse weekly, and reset monthly, you will build something no algorithm, no trend, No crisis can shake a life with systems, a life by design. Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." What you're doing here, this is the preparation part. Quiet, intentional, rare. So many people will chase success this year. Few will engineer it. You now have the blueprint. You now hold the map. But it's up to you whether it becomes action or just another forgotten insight. In Part 5, we'll take a deeper turn inward, applying the 13 systems not just to performance, but to identity, to meaning, to the emotional architecture of your life. It's about the internal terrain, the beliefs, values, and self-dialogue that make these systems stick. Part 5. You're still here. And that matters, because now we're going deeper, not wider. The first 4 parts were about building systems around you. Now we turn inward, because if the external is strategy, the internal is sovereignty. And sovereignty begins when you reclaim your narrative one layer at a time. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But what does that mean in practical terms? It means that every external system collapses without internal alignment. You can set goals, wake up early, journal daily, but if your identity isn't aligned with your systems, your life will stall. So, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the internal architecture that makes the 13 systems actually stick. 1. The belief refinement system, inner code, outer habits. Let's start with the invisible, because beliefs are the software that runs your life. And here's what most people never pause to ask. Are the systems I'm trying to install compatible with the identity I currently hold? Example. If you try to install a productivity system, but you still believe you're bad with time. If you build a health system, but deep down you think I'm just someone who's always tired. If you launch a career move, but quietly believe I'm not ready yet, you'll sabotage yourself. Not because the system is broken, but because your self-perception is. Stoicism teaches us to separate what's true from what's noisy. So here's how to do an internal audit of belief. Step 1. Name the system you're working on. Let's say it's financial strategy. Step 2. Ask, what do I really believe about this? Be brutally honest. Do you believe money is hard to make? I wasn't raised to understand investing. I'm not smart enough to build wealth. Those are not facts. Those are scripts. Step 3. Challenge the script like a Stoic. Who gave me this belief? Is this belief useful? What belief would serve me better? Then write the upgrade. Example. Wealth is a skill, and I'm allowed to learn it at any age. This isn't fluff. It's core code. The Stoics were constantly debugging their beliefs, not to be positive, but to be accurate, because the mind, left unexamined, becomes a prison. 2. The emotional calibration system, feel without drowning. Let's get real. We live in a world of emotional extremes. People either suppress their emotions like Spartans, or drown in them like open floodgates. Stoicism offers a third path calibration. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgment of things." That means emotions aren't enemies. They're data points, signals, not dictators. Here's how winners process emotion without being consumed by it. Step 1. Label it neutrally instead of "I'm angry." Say anger is present. It creates space between you and the wave. Step 2. Ask, what unmet value is this emotion pointing to? Anger may signal a boundary crossed. Sadness may reflect a hidden longing. Anxiety may be whispering, I need clarity. Step 3. Design a response, not a reaction. Emotion, insight, strategy. Winners don't avoid emotion, they interrogate it. They slow down enough to extract meaning. Then they respond with structure, not impulse. Because reactivity is the death of strategy. You can't execute your systems if you're emotionally hijacked. So build this muscle. Feel the storm, then steer through it. 3. The identity integration system. From trying to. Being Seneca said, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. And nowhere is where most people live, scattered across versions of themselves. Oneself at work, oneself online, oneself in silence. But winners, they collapse those walls. They integrate. They stop trying to be disciplined, creative, strategic, and they become the person who naturally does those things. It's not about adding more. It's about becoming more whole. So here's a powerful practice. Write a one-sentence identity statement for each of your 13 systems. Example, for your health system, I am the kind of person who honors my energy like a sacred flame. For your learning system, I am a strategist who learns in public and reflects in private. For your risk system, I make bold moves with calm logic and eyes wide open. Do this for all 13, then repeat one out loud each morning, not as a mantra, as a reminder of who you're becoming. This bridges the gap between habits and identity, because ultimately, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your self-concept. 4. The inner circle system, protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius was emperor of Rome, but he still journaled privately, reminding himself daily not to be pulled by the noise of the crowd. He understood this. Your inner circle determines your inner climate. So let's simplify who gets a seat at your table. And more importantly, why? Here's a simple audit. Draw 3 circles. Inner circle, 3 out of 5 people. These are the ones who see the real you, challenge your patterns, and celebrate your growth. Influence circle 10 to 15, you engage often, but with boundaries. Noise circle, everyone else. No access, no explanations needed. Every 90 days, ask, who in my inner circle drains me more than they support me? Who in my noise circle have I been giving too much energy to? Who have I outgrown but haven't detached from yet? Winners are kind but clear. They protect their internal systems by curating their external inputs. You can't build a sovereign life if you're surrounded by chaos. And you don't need to explain your boundaries. You just need to live them. 5. The philosophical compass, reconnecting with purpose. Finally, the system beneath all systems. Meaning, the Stoics believed we don't just live to avoid pain or chase pleasure. We live to fulfill our role in the grand play. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that he was not just a man, but a citizen of the cosmos, a fragment of a greater whole. What does that mean for you? It means this work you're doing, the systems, the structure, the introspection. It's not about control. It's about contribution. Living a life not just of optimization, but of alignment. So ask yourself, what do I serve that is bigger than myself? Who am I becoming, not for accolades, but for the people I love? What legacy am I quietly building, even if no one's watching? When you reconnect with purpose, your discipline feels lighter. Your focus becomes magnetic. Your systems take root in soul, not just in logic. Winners don't just master tactics, they return to purpose again and again. Because the external strategy means little if the internal compass is spinning. Next, making it live in the real world. You now understand the internal scaffolding that sustains the 13 systems. You've explored belief, emotion, identity, relationships, and meaning. In Part 6, we begin the real-world immersion. What does it look like to use these systems in the middle of modern life? When you're tired, overwhelmed, under pressure, or just stuck, we'll walk through case studies, real scenarios, and the micro-decisions that quietly shape momentum. You're not just building systems anymore. You're about to embody them in the most chaotic, unpredictable environments possible. Part 6. Now we move into the real world, where ideals get tested, where strategy meets friction. It's one thing to journal your goals in the morning light. It's another to hold your frame when life throws you curveballs, people push your buttons, or your plan falls apart before noon. This is where systems either collapse or become you. And in this part, we'll walk through how to embody the 13 systems under pressure. Because here's the truth. Philosophy doesn't live in books. It lives in moments of discomfort, decision, and quiet self-control. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations for applause. He wrote it to anchor himself in war, illness, betrayal, and political chaos. Let's do the same. Scenario 1. You wake up already behind you, overslept. Phones blowing up, notifications stacking, and the whole day feels hijacked by 7:15. So what now? This is where most people spiral. I'm behind. I can't recover. I've failed already. Stop, breathe, reboot. System in play. Time and focus plus emotional calibration. 1. Reclaim the first quiet minute. Put the phone down. Close your eyes, breathe deep for 60 seconds. Anchor yourself back to awareness. 2. Ask, what is the one needle-moving thing I can still do today? Don't try to salvage everything. Salvage intention. 3. Emotionally. Rename the spiral. I'm not behind. I'm in recovery mode. Why it works. The focus system doesn't require perfection. It requires clarity. The emotional calibration system allows you to redirect your momentum. Even a derailed day can become strategic in the last 4 hours. Scenario 2. You receive unexpected criticism. Someone throws shade, a passive-aggressive comment. You feel the sting, and now your mind is running. Are they right? Do other people see me this way? Should I respond? This is emotional landmine territory. Systems in play, decision optimization plus inner circle plus identity integration. 1. First, delay the response. Set a 12-hour buffer. No replies, no rants. Let the wave pass. 2. Filter the feedback. Ask, is this person in my inner circle or noise circle? Do they know me, or are they projecting? 3. Run the 5-question decision filter. Is this aligned with my vision? What's the worst that happens if I ignore it? Will this matter in 6 months? What is my deeper intuition whispering beneath my ego? Why it works. Winners don't fear criticism, but they curate who has authority over their self-perception. Epictetus said, if someone speaks badly of you and it's true, correct yourself. If it's false, laugh at it. That's clarity. That's power. Scenario 3. You hit an energy wall mid-week. You've been pushing, stacking wins, executing plans. Then suddenly fog, brain shuts down, fatigue hits. You're snapping at people, losing focus, tempted to throw the entire week away. This is where the health and energy system and recovery rhythm save you. 1. Stop pushing. Start checking. Ask, did I sleep at least 7 hours last night? Did I hydrate this morning? When was my last movement break? If any of those are off, it's not you, it's your battery. 2. Go micro. Don't try to rally. Do a 15-minute walk, take a nap, do a non-digital task in silence. 3. Shift to maintenance mode. You don't have to win today. You just have to protect the system from collapse, reboot, return stronger tomorrow. Why it works. Winners treat their energy like an investor treats capital. You don't spend all of it at once. You preserve it. Because no system works when the operator is depleted. Scenario 4. You're tempted to make an impulsive move. You see an opportunity, a shiny new offer, an idea that sparks curiosity but smells like chaos. Maybe it's buying a course because of FOMO, quitting your job on a high-emotion day, saying yes to a project that stretches your capacity thin. This is where systems must override instinct. Systems in play. Risk calibration plus financial autonomy plus vision anchoring. 1. Pull up the matrix. Ask, what's the upside? What's the downside? Is this opportunity aligned with my long-term press release? 2. Apply the rule of tens. How will this feel in 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 months? 3. Check your resource bandwidth. What's the energy cost? What system will degrade if I say yes? Is the upside worth the maintenance? Why it works. Strategic thinking isn't about playing scared. It's about playing long. Remember, the Stoics weren't afraid to act. They were afraid to act blindly. Scenario 5. You fall off the system for a few days. You miss your journaling. You stop blocking deep work. You eat like crap. You default to scrolling. You ghost your vision. And then the shame spiral kicks in. This is where most people quit the system entirely. But winners, they repair it. Systems in play, belief refinement, plus identity integration, plus system cascade. 1. Say it out loud, I fell off the track. But the track is still there. 2. Find the keystone system that broke. Usually it's one of 3. Energy, focus, emotional regulation. Fix the root, not the symptoms. 3. Don't try to rebuild everything at once. Pick one system to reinstall and let the cascade do the rest. Why it works. Systems aren't about never breaking. They're about graceful recovery. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Dare to repair." That's what separates systems from superstition. Bonus. Scenario. You feel like it's not working fast enough. You're doing the work. You're checking the boxes, but the results are slow, invisible. You start thinking, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for strategy. Pause. Zoom out. This is where philosophy saves you. Systems in play, vision anchoring, plus creativity system, meaning compass. 1. Return to your 5-year press release. Reread it. Reconnect to your North Star. 2. Celebrate one invisible win. You said no to something you'd normally say yes to. You noticed a pattern before reacting. You finished the week 1% more aware. 3. Shift from outcome to identity evidence. Every repetition is a vote for the future version of you, even if no one sees it yet, even if it's quiet. Why it works. Because growth is not a firework, it's a slow ignition. The Stoics knew this. They lived their lives in preparation not for speed, but for depth. not to be seen, but to be anchored. You're not just learning systems, you're learning how to apply them in chaos. And that's the whole point. Anyone can be disciplined on a quiet Tuesday. Winners are strategic when things break, when emotion floods, when momentum stalls. That's the real test. That's what Stoicism trained for. In Part 7, we'll start constructing custom versions of these systems tailored to your personality type, your profession, and your season of life. Because strategy only works if it fits the soul wearing it. Part 7. You've learned the architecture, you've practiced the recovery. Now, we begin refinement. Because real strategy isn't copy-paste, it's custom-fit. What works for a Stoic artist in Berlin may not work for a startup founder in Tokyo. What empowers a single mom might overwhelm a college student. So here's the golden rule of high-performance systems. If it doesn't fit your nature, it won't survive your chaos. That's what this part is all about: personalization. Taking the 13 systems and tailoring them to your psychological fingerprint, your circumstances, and your season of life. Let's begin with the foundation. 1. Know thyself. The Stoic personality blueprint, Seneca said, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." But you can't have power over yourself if you don't understand yourself. So before installing systems, clarify your strategic style. Ask yourself, am I more reactive or reflective by nature? Do I draw energy from structure or spontaneity? Do I need public accountability or private discipline? Do I thrive with constraints or with open space? Let's break it into 3 customization axes. A. Operating tempo: fast versus steady. Fast thinkers love momentum. They feel energized by quick wins, constant stimulation, and novelty. Steady thinkers value depth. They prefer fewer tasks, more control, and slower pacing. System customization. Tips: fast thinkers break down big systems into micro sprints, 90-minute creativity loop instead of write daily. Steady thinkers use long-form journaling, single focus routines, and weekly cadence reviews. B. Motivation style. External versus Stoicism. Internal drivers. External-driven personalities respond well to deadlines, shared goals, and social feedback. Internal-driven types are mission-focused and lose steam if systems feel externally imposed. System customization tips. External-driven. Join a challenge. Share weekly wins. Create public check-ins. Internal-driven build rituals around your why and reflect through solo morning questions like, who am I becoming? C. Sensory tolerance minimalist versus stimulus tolerant. Minimalists thrive in calm, clutter-free environments. Stimulus-tolerant individuals often think best with sound, motion, variety system customization. Tips: minimalists use clean visuals, quiet spaces, and analog tools. Notion: journals. Stimulus-tolerant use playlists, dynamic work zones, colorful mind maps. You don't need to fight your nature. You need to strategize within it. The Stoics weren't rigid. They were adaptable. They used what worked and discarded the rest. 2. System scaling life seasons and energy bands. Marcus Aurelius had to govern Rome during war, disease, and betrayal. But still, he adapted. Not every season requires the same level of output. Systems must flex based on your current energy bandwidth. Let's talk scaling. A. High energy season. Expansion mode. You feel charged, clear-headed, hungry. This is the time to scale complexity. Stack 2 to 3 new systems, extend deep work hours, Test creative loops.